It's taken nearly 2 decades to get there, and I'm going to be brief with this. And this is important, okay? Number one, you have to have disciplined acquisitions to do what we're doing. We submit over 100 offers to get one deal. Name a team that does that. We do. You have to have world-class operations. I know that when everything was going up, 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 even the rookies looked good. They covered up their bad mistakes because it was going up so fast. Nowadays, you have to have world-class operations. Insurance costs are up. Interest rate costs are up. Like, you got to be tight with your efficiency on the ground. We do that here. I would put up our team against anybody in the country for operations. The last thing is market timing. This is a little bit of a God thing, or maybe a good luck thing if you want to call it that. But market timing does make a difference. And when you've got people like John Gray from Blackstone saying that this is the time, you might want to pay attention to it. If you'd like to explore investing with us, go to homeinvest.com to jump on there. Now I want to get ready for the main event. I need you to type in the chat here. I need you to welcome to the stage. And I know that Zoom doesn't have a stage, but this is a virtual stage. And the more you actively engage, the more you actively learn, the more you'll retain. Studies show that you retain 92% when you're actively engaged. You only retain 51% when you passively sit back. So if you want to get a good ROI on your time here, then please help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Steve Werner. Woo!
Thank you so much, Nate. Welcome to the show, guys. If you are new to our world, we've got something special in store for you today. You just heard from Nate Armstrong, the CEO and founder of Home Invest. My name is Steve Werner. I am the director of public relations here. I get to hang out with you guys, get you all some information today. So the Opportunity Zone, the show that you are on today, is our live show. It is usually Nate, myself, Chris, and some other members of the team talking through what is going on in real estate today. The idea is to give you an overview of the news that is out there. Today, though, we have a special report. We have Nate on location with us live at the best tax play of the year. We're coming down to the end of the year. A lot of people are looking for tax savings. If that is you, you are going to want to pay attention to today's show. We're going to be showing you the best tax deal that we have. We're also going to be going through tax plays that you can make as a real estate investor. If you are new to our world, we are a Christian-based company, and we follow the principles talked about in Matthew 25. That is all about helping you be a great steward of what God has given you. Matthew 25, does anyone know what they talk about in Matthew 25? If you do, put it in the chat. See if anybody out there is up on their Bible knowledge. It is a parable, the parable of the talents. It talks about farmer was going away. He gave servant 1 10 pieces of silver. Parable, servant number 2 5 pieces. Number 3 1 piece. He went away for a while. He came back and he rewarded the ones who invested wisely. So that is what our mission statement is here at Home Invest. Today is going to be all about helping you with your tax burdens. Now, what does the Bible say about taxes? It says, pay to Caesar what is Caesar's. But as Nate likes to put it, you don't need to tip the government. Tip people who take care of you at restaurants, tip people who take care of you personally, but you do not need to tip the government. Pay them what they're owed. But the rest of it, be savvy, be smart, and be great stewards of what God has given you. Nate, I'm going to pull you up on screen here.
Hey, Steve, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I know you are on location. It looks beautiful there. Man, you are in Georgetown. No snow on the ground. Just beautiful. You're outside in a sweater. I love it.
Yeah, it's really nice. This time of year, it's good weather. I remember about a year ago, I was here as well, and we were just about to close on another asset, beautiful brick building like this. But I want to share something, because those of you that are thinking about taxes, because that's the topic of the day right now, if you're thinking about taxes and you know you have to pay the IRS something, I just want to challenge your thinking today. Hang with us for about 7 to 15 minutes and hear us out on this. But a year ago, when I was on site in Kentucky and we were closing on this asset, I had a tax liability I was looking at. I had somewhere between $200,000, maybe $250,000 tax liability that I would have had to just own up to. But instead, I made some strategic moves. And one of the big ones was investing into real estate. And because I made the investment into real estate, I ended up getting what the government calls passive losses. Now, that term sounds confusing. It doesn't make any sense. I tell my 10-year-old son all the time that it's kind of like getting a tax credit. I invest in real estate, I get a tax credit. And now your CPA won't call it that. They'll call it a passive loss. But regardless, I made the investment in the real estate and I made my tax liability go away. And for me, it's really powerful for what we do and what we do to fuel our nonprofit and things like that. I would so much rather that we take that money and do something good with it than just hand it over to the tax man. And you legally can do this. Anybody here that's listening to the sound of my voice right now, you have the same if you're a US citizen, you have the same possibilities that I do. And this tax status is not hard to get. It's not very complicated. It's making the right investments and lining things up the right way. And we're going to go through that today while I'm on site at the tax play of the year. So if you are still in that position where you're thinking like, oh my goodness, I might have to pay the tax man, you might not have to. Just hang with us through this broadcast.
Awesome. Well, Nate is getting you guys all teed up. I want to bring Chris Lavin up. So if you know Chris, he is not super shy. Chris, you did such a good job this morning. I am going to actually ask you to lead us in prayer. We always like to start our meetings with prayer to bless all of you. If you're not a Christian, is totally okay. We would still like to bless you if you're open to that. Chris, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Do you mind blessing all of us with a quick word of prayer?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, first and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge who you are in my life, and I'd like to ask for your blessings as we transfer the knowledge that we have in these processes, and help us to obey by your biblical teachings and give to Caesar only what is due to Caesar. Allow us to be good stewards of what you provide us, and allow us to pass this knowledge on to the people around us so that they can benefit from your wisdom through us. I pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right. We are going to get started. Nate, do you want me to put the slides up and go through the slides first? Or do you want to do a tour out there first? Chris, thank you.
Absolutely.
We can do either. I'm totally here. I'm flexible. Maybe give me 2 minutes and I'll be inside of one of the units. So if you want to do slides while I make the commute, it's actually, I'll do a quick exterior shot though. So the property that we're talking about, this is a 72 unit, beautiful brick building. Literally, I'm on the middle of the campus right now. It's in Georgetown, and Georgetown is very famous for having thoroughbred racehorses. So if I go right or left in any direction, I'm going to run into multi-million-dollar horse estates. If you ever like pictured or seen movies with those picturesque rolling hills of Kentucky, that's this area. Like literally the famous racehorse Secretariat, he retired right down the street from here. And so this multifamily property, it's a rarity. It's one of the few. There's not very many multifamily in Georgetown because it's all these big, beautiful horse estates. And so this is kind of like a little bit of an exterior tour. And then while you pull up slides and talk about it, I'll make my way upstairs.
No worries. I'll let you get up there, Nate. I'm going to share just a few slides to let you guys know who we are, and I'll give you some of the behind the scenes of this property. So if you are new to Home Invest, I'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. We have done more than 1,400 deals. Nate has been an active investor for around 20 years. I've been involved in real estate since 2001. Chris has been involved in real estate for a long time as well. All the members of our team are active in real estate deals. Presently, we have more than $42 million assets under management. We have an excellent track record. We'll get into the track record here in a second. We've won a couple awards as well, the Good Citizenship Award, Entrepreneur of the Year. We're also an Inc. 500 company. We landed number 342 on the Inc. 500 list. So we own properties mostly in Tennessee. Not all in Tennessee, but a lot of them there. C class all the way to A class. You can see the A class building, which we just picked up on the right-hand side. Most of our properties come to us through off-market deals, which means there are not brokers involved, which means we get to make better returns for you, the investor. By not having brokers or people in the middle, we get to pass those investment returns on to you. We strive to hit above an 18% internal rate of return and over a 1.8x exit multiple. That means if you put $100,000 in, our goal is to get you 180 or more out of the property. We've done very, very well at that. Historically, our returns right now are around 22.4% for our investors. No capital calls. So if you don't know what a capital call is, once you get into an investment, couple months, maybe a year or two goes by, sometimes syndicators, the people that put the deals together, have to call the investors up and say, hey, we need more money to make the deal work. This is not the call that you want to receive. It's not a Zoom call that you want to be on, and we've never had to do that. We have always plan the deals out so well that we don't have to. We are super, super conservative in our underwriting. We look at usually 100 to 150 deals per month to bring in a great deal. We don't want to take a deal just because it would make us money and to get a deal on the books. We only take deals that make you great, safe returns so that you can be a great steward of what God has given you. Nate, I see that you are upstairs. I will stop sharing. I will come back to the slides in a little bit. Show us the unit that you're in. Tell us a little bit about where we are on the property and why we're in that unit. If you would like more information while we're going through this, Sue, if you want to put the link in the chat, Sue is placing a link in the chat. You can click that link to book a call with a member of our team. You can ask any questions that you would have, and that is the next step to invest in this property. Nate?
Yeah, so I'm going to do two things. I want to talk about it at a high level, then I'm also going to introduce Alicia, our head property manager. We'll talk about this unit, but one of the things that's happening is that we just closed on this property, okay? And immediately we came in and we implemented the same business plan that we do to every property. The whole goal is that you bring market rents to actual market. We took this property over in a very, very low rental amount. Took it over at around the 650 mark. And I'm going to let Alicia talk about what she's done with, we've only had 3 turns so far, and what she's done with those in just the last 3 weeks. So Alicia, head property manager, welcome to the Opportunity Zone.
Hi.
So what have you done with this property just in the last few weeks?
Yes, sir. So in the last few weeks, we have turned these units that were originally when we took over at 600 to 650 in rent. And some of these units have carports and 10 by 10 storage rooms as well as amenities. What I came in and did for this property is we went ahead and leased them for $950. So from the 600 to 950, and then also implemented.
I'm going to stop right there for a second. So Steve, I know you caught this and maybe you can help recap this, but rent was at 650. It's already moved to 950. Okay, that's a monster jump. And tell me, how is the market absorbing that? Are you getting a ton of pushback? Are people saying no? What's happening?
No, people, I have not had any negative opinions on that price. And the reason is, there's many reasons I can say that this is worth it. Not only is there washer and dryer included in the unit, but also you don't see a lot of properties that have carports for residents, individually for them, and also a storage room. So what we've implemented here is we add those amenities and we bring it up to their attention when we're leasing to them. We've also added an amenity fee for those that do want to use the carports and the storage rooms. And that's also an extra 75, which people love. That brings us up from 950 to the extra 75 on top of that, which is what we've already leased for. And the reason I'm not getting that struck is because they see the units, they're great units, and the washer and dryer is something that people absolutely love. You don't have to go outside of your unit to do laundry. And then the extra storage room is also a plus, and that's what makes the property a great property. we offer many things that other properties around us do not offer, and that's where we implement those prices.
So to recap this, started at 650, rent is now at 950. Out of the 3 turns, only 3, just in the last couple of weeks, how many of those are leased right now?
2 of those are already pre-leased, and the third one is already about to be leased as of today.
Okay, the reason that this is so important and so powerful is because when you get into a multifamily investment, you always have to wonder, hey, is the team really going to hit the mark? Are they actually going to deliver the projected rents that they're saying that they are? And not only are we doing it, it's done. Like literally, we already got to prove the business plan is working at this price rate. So we're taking rents from the low 650 to now it's 950 plus amenities. So it's actually 1025. 1,025. That's a monster jump. And we're going to do this in pretty much the whole building over the next couple of years.
Yes, absolutely. We will also do the same with renewals. When I come into a property, of course, I always look at the amenities and what we have to offer, and I always call around properties, and we always want to do better. And that's where we use those key points of your amenities. And when you have, if people know it's worth it, people know the amenities are lovely thing to have in this property. And that's also something that we're doing. We already have interest in lots of renewals that we're doing to implement those new prices. And people are okay with it. Absolutely.
Steve, my friend, we'll return the time to you. You tell us where you want us to go deeper, and I can finish kind of showing you the rest of the unit too, if you'd like.
Cool. I do want you to go through the unit. I just want to touch on this with people. If you're new to syndications, apartment buildings are appraised differently than single family. They are appraised on the amount of income that they bring in. This is why it is so important that rents go up and you can raise rents easily. That's where the price of the property goes up, and that's where you as the investor make the amazing returns. So this building, when we bought it, we knew it was about 30% under rent. As we bought it and closed, that number actually moved up a little bit, and they didn't touch on this. Nate, maybe you can. The surrounding properties, one, there are not very many other properties in Georgetown that offer apartment living. It's mostly private condos and big multi-million-dollar homes. So the fact that these are really nice apartments that are really well kept up with great amenities means that there is no price comparison. That's why the 3 units that are vacant, the turns went very quickly and they were re-rented very, very quickly. Nate, let's go through the apartment. If you want to touch on any of that having to do with NOI and how this building is appreciating just since closing, because the rents are going up, the building is appreciating, and it's going to appreciate very quickly because we can push rents up.
Yeah, so NOI, we're driving that north in a very quick way already. So net operating income is going up, so the value is going up. And then on top of that, the reason this one is so sweet, the reason I'm excited about it is because of the tax perks. So for us, it's put in $1, get back at least 50 cents on our taxes. That's what it's doing for my taxes. That's what it's doing for other investors that have already subscribed to this deal. Put in $1, get at least 50 cents. Some of them are even getting up to 75 cents back for every $1 that they put in. So imagine that, putting in $1 and then getting 75 cents back on your taxes this year. The thing is that this is only the eligibility for this. It's gone at the end of this year. You can't like for a 2024 tax savings, you can't put money into something in 2025. It doesn't work that way, with the exception of a 401k as a self-employed person. But outside of that, like if you're an ordinary person and you're trying to get tax savings for 2024, you have to make your moves now before the end of the year. I wanted to show you this, Steve. I'm upstairs, I'm in the bedroom, and I'm looking out, and I wanted to kind of give the topography of the land, these rolling hills. When I'm saying that this is one of the few opportunities for affordable living in Georgetown, I'm not messing around. Like you can see over the rolling hills, now we're starting to get into the higher end estates. Like it's like right there. It's not very far away. And so for us to have this multifamily located where it is, it's one of the few places where someone that works an ordinary job, blue collar type work, like you can actually get affordable living in the middle of Georgetown. one of the things that Alicia was showing me, I was walking through outside and I'm like, hey, none of the exterior doors have a lock on them. Like, aren't we worried that, somebody, could come in and cause problems? And she said, it's never, ever been a problem here. Like, it's just so peaceful, so quiet. So that's kind of a nice feature. And Steve, while you're talking, I'm also going to transport outside because I just want to show the park that's next door to it. And then I'll show some of the exterior brick on the building too.
Can you, while you're in the apartment, Nate, can you just show us? I mean, these look like very, very nice apartments. We've got good solid kitchens, we've got good countertops, we got nice views, the washer and dryer. Maybe just show us the bedroom and what is up there so that people can see. Everybody likes good curb appeal units, and I would say these units definitely have them.
Yeah, they've got an in-unit washer and dryer. So I'm standing in the bedroom. These are all one-bedroom apartments. And I know some people get nervous with one beds, but here's the thing, that's the demand in this area. Like this is what people want. And that's why already out of the 3 churns that we've had, 2 of them immediately leased, and we're signing the 3rd lease today. Literally, someone's going to the office to pay the deposit right now at new rent rates. So they're simple, but nice. They're comfortable. They're clean. Like, it's got everything that you need, and you're so centrally located right here in Georgetown. So if you're working in, like, as an example, Toyota is building a big EV plant just down the street. They're putting 1.5 billion into it. If you get a job there, there's not a lot of workforce housing for you. This is one of the only options in the area. So for us as owners, this is like perfectly timed little investment for us.
Awesome. I want to touch on taxes as well, Nate. I know you're going to head outside in a second. So maybe I'll pull Chris up. If you want to head outside, I will pull Chris back up. All right, Chris, we're going to talk about taxes a little bit. This is you this morning in our meeting. You were talking and you were like, this building has so much sparkle on it when it comes to tax savings. For those of you who don't understand this, we get what is called a cost segregation study. It allows accelerated depreciation, which means you can take that amount against your taxes. Chris, can you just explain this a little bit more and talk about why this building is such a great tax play?
So the reason that this building is such a great tax play is because of the Jobs and Tax Act that was passed a few years ago, right? So there's not just the accelerated depreciation, there's also the bonus depreciation. So what happens is we use a cost segregation study, and I'm not going to bore everybody with the math, but what happens is you take a certain amount of the building that's available to depreciate. It's usually done over 27.5 years. We accelerate it down, and then of that amount, we are allowed to take a certain percentage, 60%. This year is what's called bonus depreciation. Because of the way we structured the financing on this thing, we are absolutely in an unbelievable place. Like, this is a higher percentage we've been able to give to our investors than any other property we've done this year. Because of the way we've structured the financing, we can give up to 50%, and if we can tweak it just right, if we can get the right investors involved, we can maybe get a little bit higher. So what that means is that if you put in $1 million, you would get $500,000 of depreciation losses on your K1. That doesn't mean that the property loses $500,000. It means that we get to take all of that depreciation up front, and you get to declare it in the first year of taxes. Why is that important? Because we won't be able to have that after December 31st. So January 1, all of that goes away for our investors. So this is absolutely one of those magnificent plays. And let's be honest, like this building is growing at a rate even faster than we predicted, based on the great management team there, pulling little levers to make these differences. And as you explained, Steve, the multifamily residential is based on NOI, net operating income, understanding that as we increase the rents, our costs don't go up. So that increases our profit or the net operating income. And for every percent of the net, every little bit that we put the net operating income up, that increases the value of the property. Why is that important? Because over the course of 4 or 5 year hold on this property, it increases the amount that we can sell it for. It increases your return. So these are all huge benefits of this specific property. again, I'm going to caution you, do not play around. This ends December 31st, and there's no way for us, if you give us the money January 1st, there's no way legally for us to post that against your 2024 tax return. I got into real estate, back into multifamily real estate just for this very specific reason, to offset a bunch of capital gains in the sale of another business. So please, don't give it to the government. I don't know about anybody else, and this is not a political statement. I am much better equipped to do more with my dollars than the government is. You know, I have never built a bridge to nowhere. I have never went out and just gave away money to satisfy other people. Every dime that we get to save, we do purposeful things with it. Our purpose, my purpose personally, is to house and feed feed hungry children in this country. So Steve just put up my return check from the IRS this year. That's right, $53,204 as a refund from the IRS because of accelerated and bonus depreciation. I made more money last year than I made in the previous 2 years, put in the same amount of taxes, pay the government, you know, the government is due, and this is what I had as a great return or refund from the IRS. Made more money than I had in a long time, and this is what I'm getting back as a refund. You are eligible too. These are the tax codes, the IRS tax codes. We have tax attorneys, CPAs, and professionals that set this up and guide us through all of this stuff. We don't mess with the IRS, but we give them what they're due, and we benefit from our knowledge. Sorry, I feel like I just went off on a soapbox.
Nope, you're doing great.
I'm passionate about taxes. How insane is that?
You're passionate about being a good steward, Chris.
Hey.
That
Yeah.
is why your life has treated you so well. Nate,
Yeah.
let's go back to you on the lawn.
Yeah, so I'm literally, so this is our building right here. They've got beautiful little balconies upstairs, so they've all got their own little spot. They can have some privacy outside. And then they walk right out the front door, and look at this. We have the park right there. Like, and so you've got grass, you've got space to run around, you've got on-site laundry. Like, these are the amenities, the things that tenants are looking for, and that's why they rent so fast, even though we're at a higher rent rate than people were in years past in this building. The seller on this one just kind of took his eye off the ball on rent increases because he was maintaining occupancy. He had 100% occupancy, full rent roll, no turnover. And whenever you take over a building like that, you just know right from day number one that it's probably because they're under rented. And we knew that because we studied all the neighbors' buildings and things like that to figure out what market is. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful little surrounding, Steve.
Awesome. So guys, we've gone through the building. We've showed you why it is such a great investment without even the tax benefit. It's paying great dividends because we bought it under rented. It was 30%-ish when we bought it, and since then it's changed to about 35% under market rents. You heard from our property manager. You got to see a tour of a unit with Nate. You get to see what the outside is like. It's a safe, great place to live that people want to be in. This is a phenomenal investment. You got to hear from Chris as to why the tax savings are there. Nate, I'm going to ask you the same question. I know you got a phenomenal tax return due to accelerated depreciation. Can you just touch on that with your story a little bit?
Yeah. So, long story cut short, I made a bonehead move and I invested into a big development deal. Development went south. It kicked my butt. It took me to my knees financially. I had to rebuild. And when I rebuilt, I figured like I got hands on. I really went all in and started making good money. And the next thing that came to me is having to pay big taxes. And I recognized really fast I didn't want to do that. And I got a blessed opportunity to work with a wealthy client who had a family office. This family office, they had really smart people there, financial whizzes, financial planner and a CPA specifically. And the CPA in the room said, Nate, hey, when you do investments with our client, this is what we need you to do. And there are 4 steps. We have a book. We've given it away to some people. If you want a copy of that book, just type book in the comments and we'll get a copy over to you. But in that book, we outline this move right here, what Chris was just talking about. Every one of us is eligible for. Very few know how to do this. Very few CPAs understand it. And Amanda, I saw your question earlier in the chat. could you talk with my CPA? We do that a lot. We end up getting on the phone with a lot of CPAs because a lot of CPAs, they know their niche really well. But let's face it, the tax code is 4,000 plus pages and it's not very fun reading. It's very, very dry. And there's no way that one person knows it backwards and forwards, inside and out. We happen to specialize in just this: real estate investments for tax savings. That's our niche. It's what we know how to do. Chris has been doing it because he sold a company and needed to not give the government so much. And then I started doing it because I really geeked out on it. I have read Joe Biden's tax return. I've read Kamala Harris's. I've read at least 100 politicians' tax returns. Everybody with real estate that has some kind of prominence does these moves. And I wish they taught these in schools, but they don't. So if you guys need help with this, if you want us to tee you up for the right conversation with your CPA, I'd encourage you just to book a call. Use the link that was put in the chat, book the call, and we'll get you the same information that we have. We literally have write-ups on this. We've got tax advisor components you can send your CPA. We've got all the tools that you'll need to actually make this happen. And for me, I can use it to offset my W-2 income. I draw a W-2 salary from this company. I've drawn a W-2 salary in the past from a previous employer a long time ago when I used to work at Target. So I can offset it if it's done the right way. There's nothing free in life for anybody, but if you structure this stuff the right way, then you can knock out ordinary income with passive losses from real estate, structured the right way.
Awesome. So we got several of you putting book in the chat. If you are joining us online, you can drop it there as well. A member of our team will reach out. Sue just put the link. If you would like to learn about this tax play, if you'd like to learn about the investment, book a call. You can click that link that is in the chat, or you can reach out to your advisor. If you're working with one of us already, it's myself, Sue, and Doug. Any of us would love to chat with you about this. We'll walk through and show you whether or not it's the right investment for you. Phenomenal returns and a great tax break. As long as you're an accredited investor, you do need to invest by the end of the year. And here's what happens every year, guys. It happened with us last year. We got down to the last 3 or 4 days of the year, and a whole bunch of people reached out. And it is a lot to get done in a few days, and some people missed it. If you know that you are going to want this tax break, reach out now, book a call. Sue has put the link in the chat. If you are joining us online, just say, put in the chat, I'd like to book a call. One of our team will reach out to you. We will get you on our calendars. We'll have the conversation with you, and we will get you set up so you can take advantage of this. You're going to have to pay the taxes, or you can invest with us, get a large chunk of that back, and have an investment that is both going to go up in value and pay you dividends. Talk through the recapture after the sale of the property. Dan, great question. Nate, what does this look like?
Yeah, it's so funny. When I met that family office, I was so excited. I wanted to implement everything. I called my CPA. My CPA says, no, you're not doing that, Nate. No way. Because of recapture, you're just going to have to pay all of that stuff back. So I felt deflated. I called back the family office the next day and I said, hey, my CPA says because of this recapture thing, I can't do this. And then the family office guy says, well, Nate, yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, you'd have to repay it all. And I said, well, clearly I don't know what I'm doing. Please educate me. He said, well, Nate, yeah, in real estate, if you sell a piece of real estate, you don't have to repay through recapture. You don't have to pay that back. There's a 4-digit tax code that everybody's eligible for. I want to throw this out because this is a good group. You guys are asking great questions. What is that 4-digit tax code when you sell a piece of real estate? If you don't want to pay taxes on it, what is that 4-digit tax code that you can do? It starts with a 1 or a 10. What is that 4-digit tax code?
Yeah, they all got it.
Nailed it. So 1031 exchange. So that the family office CPA explains, Nate, you just do a 1031 exchange and you can literally exchange until you die. And then when you die, the tax basis is reset. So you and your kids never pay tax. I'm like, okay, got it. He said, but Nate, why would you ever sell? If you have a beautiful piece of real estate like this, that is in a fantastic area, a B location, like literally you got multi-million-dollar estates just down the street. You got Toyota building a giant facility for EV vehicles, providing a ton more jobs. Why would you ever sell this? That's what I was challenged with by that family office CPA. And I said, well, what if I want to cash in all my equity? He said, Nate, you don't have to sell to cash in on your equity. you can simply refinance it. You can pull all the money out tax-free. You can keep the building, you can keep the cash flow, you can keep it going. And then once you get the tax-free money out, you go buy another building. That's when a light bulb went off for me. So there's a lot of ways. I appreciate that question. I love it. You can either do a 1031 and not have to pay that tax ever through, if you follow the method that we just outlined, or you simply refinance. You refinance the asset and you keep going. And that way there, when you refinance, it's a tax-free event, 100% tax-free. We always look for ways for our investors to not have to pay the tax. Great question.
Nate, we do have one more question, but Chris said he's got something to chime in on.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we keep hitting about the Toyota thing, but we're not focusing on the Toyota thing, right? So Toyota has dedicated and committed to building another plant. They're scheduled to bring in another 9,000 jobs into this area. So one thing that Nate didn't elaborate on this time is about the circle around this area of the country. There's an inside and an outside. The inside is where growth can happen. The outside is where all the horse farms that Nate was talking about previously. So there's no place to build. When we first acquired this property, I called around to other properties because it was at 100%. There was no vacancy. It was 100% leased up. So I'm like, what is going on? So I started calling on other places. Everything that is worth living in is 100% leased up, and that's a result of the need for residences and no place to build them. There's no place to build them. Another 9,000 jobs are coming in. What's going to happen? Demand is going to go up. Supply is not going to grow. Rents are going to rise. So over the next 3 years in this property, we're going to see a tremendous amount of growth that'll put us in such a unique position with this property to take care of our investors in ways that we didn't even promise. We always underpromise and overdeliver. This economy is booming. This area is just growing at a rate that's unbelievable. So man, this is an investment that's got both economic growth and amazing tax benefits. This is the deal of the year for us. I've got to say. I'm sorry, I'll shut up now.
That is all right. So, couple questions in the chat. The first one is the passive loss available for investors who utilize funds from generated traditional IRA sales?
Nate, you want to tackle that one? Oh, should we just refer him to their CPA? We should really get the CPA on the phone to structure that for you, because there's ins and outs to deal with IRAs, and actually Sue's probably the best person on this call equipped to deal with that. But the reality is we are not tax professionals. I'm not a CPA. I am not an attorney. We can't give you advice. We can only share our experience and then get you aligned with your CPA, educate them, and have them sign off on everything that they do for you.
So that would be. Go ahead, Nate.
No, you're spot on. Chris nailed it. And Steve, you were going to sum it up too. Let's have the conversation, because there's so many individual nuances. I'd hate to give bad advice, and we can't give tax advice, but we can certainly tell you what we would say to your CPA or have a conversation with your CPA. There's some levers we can pull. I actually had that exact same question on Saturday evening. I got to go to a little party, and a couple of our investors were there, and we were having that conversation. And what we structured in that little circle is the way that they're going to do their investments between husband and wife. His wife was going to invest a certain way, and we figured out that we can pull most of the tax benefits from the way that she's doing it. So there is a way to likely do it. We just need to have an individual conversation on that one.
Okay. Do you guys think I can find deals in New York? Ben, you probably can't find deals in New York. This deal is not in New York, though. We'll keep it.
But you can still invest
focused.
in it even if you live in New York.
Very good. Next questions. Can we build extra apartments on the property? I like where your head is at. We do not need to at this moment, though. The property is doing really, really well, and just keeping the turns going. People that live there are very excited. Nate, you guys threw a party when we took over the building just to talk to all of the tenants. Do you want to talk about that just for a second?
Yeah. Every time we take over, we want tenants to know that there's someone here. We're accountable. We're responsive. Here's our phone number, just to start building the community the right way. And it's funny, the three units that we've churned just in the last couple of weeks, all three of them were referrals from existing people. That's how powerful it is. So like people like us, they like the community and all that kind of stuff. One thing I want to point out that'll address that question, can we build more units? Before we go build new structures, I want to point out that number one, the garage spaces right here, they're empty. They're technically carport spaces. I'm standing here in the middle of a work day right now as we broadcast this. This is a good sign. You want that. If you go to a building in the middle of the day and everybody's home, that means no one's going to work. But this right here, everyone's going to work. But the reason I'm pointing at these garage spaces is because the previous landlord included the garage space on the lease at $650. Imagine that. We're leasing today at $950, and we're doing an extra garage fee. We call it an amenity fee. There's garage and there's a little storage locker behind them. We're doing that for $75. So before we go build more structures, why don't we just cash in on what we have? $75 a pop. You can do the math. We've got 72 spots. Look how fast we can drive the net income up without even building another structure.
And in a way that people are happy to pay. We are very competitive with the buildings that are around. We always try to be just under what average is, and we are there with this. It's because I want to go back to, we got this lead through an off-market channel, and we closed it without a broker involved. We closed it as an off-market deal. This deal never got shopped around to other people. We were able to buy it at a huge discount because of our relationship with the person selling it. That's why all of this is possible. It's not like we're going in and we're jacking rents way up above market rate. We're actually very, very competitive with what is around there at our new rates, even with the $75 amenity fee, because we bought the building right. Money is made in real estate when you buy, not when you sell. And Nate, Chris, myself, everybody on the team is very, very careful with that. Ashton, our underwriter, how many properties do you think Ashton did this month, Nate?
When I saw on the spreadsheet the other day, there were like 125 on there.
That's the number of properties that we underwrite to find a deal. Just so you guys understand how this works. Yeah, go for it, Chris.
So again, finding the right deals. This deal is financed at 4% interest. That's right, 4% interest. That's why we can return to our investors the amount of money that we're returning to our investors, right? So this is an unbelievable find. Owner financed it 4%. That's nuts. You never hear of that nowadays. Another kudos to our team.
There's a question, does this pay out annually? It pays out quarterly dividends, not annually. The tax, though, if you want the tax break, you have to invest this year. The tax break will come back. The K1 will come out. Nate, do you just want to walk through the process of what the tax break will look like so that people can understand?
Yeah. So at the end of this year, we send all the financials to our investors and to our CPA. Our CPA then takes and preps their prelim. Chris and myself review it with our CFO, and then we issue K1s, literally a tax form called a K1. Most people have probably seen them or heard of them. On the K1, it will show your tax benefit. So no different than the one that I get because I invest in this deal, or the one that you get, or the one that Chris gets for investing in this deal. That K1 will come out and it will show you all the tax benefits that you can claim. All you got to do is give that to your CPA, and your CPA can apply it to your personal tax return.
Excellent. All right, guys, if you want to book a call, Sue, if you can put the link in the chat one more time. We're a little bit over time right now, but this has been a great show. You've got to see Nate on location at the property. You got to hear about our tax plays from Chris. Sue is putting the link in the chat. If you have any interest, if you would like a massive tax break on your taxes for 2024, reach out to your advisor if you're working with one of us already, or use the link that is in the chat to book a call with one of us. We'd love to walk you through this, talk to you about the deal. And at the end of the day, guys, we would love it if you invest with us, but we want you ultimately to be great stewards of what God has given you. If we can answer questions and help you with any of your real estate investing needs, that's why we are here. Nate, before you sign off live on location. Anything else for us?
Whoever wants to come visit in Kentucky, I know you guys are excited to jump on a plane. You let me know. My family and I are here. We get to do a little activity called Toys for Tenants. We've got a lot of tenants here, and we're doing a big Christmas party and handing out gifts next week. If you find yourself with an angst to come to Kentucky and see the property, let us know. I'm here. Or if you want to come and be part of the gift giving, the Christmas gifts to all the tenants, just to let them know that they're loved and that we care about them, then hit us up. I'd love to have you here in Kentucky.
Awesome. Guys, Chris, anything to say before we head
Nope,
out?
just God bless and a happy holiday season to everybody. And remember that you're not alone in this world.
Awesome. Guys, so when we shut this Zoom room down, the links are going to disappear. I'm going to leave the room open for a little bit. If you would like to book a call, you can. Benjamin asks, is that in Louisville? I'd like to visit. Reach out to us. We can definitely set that up for you. We would love to. Luciano in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. Be there this weekend to see it live. I love that. It is just north of Lexington. Sue is putting that in the chat. All right, guys, it has been great hanging out with you. We'll leave the room open for a couple minutes. If you'd like to book a call, click on that link. Wishing you guys a great holiday season, and we will see you next week here on the Opportunity Zone, where we bring you the latest news and real estate updates, helping you be great stewards of what God has given you. Have an awesome day, guys.
Bye, guys.